Armand here with your forecast for the week of May 27th, 2024. Now, I'm recording this a little bit in advance, a little more in advance than I usually do. So if the world ended last week, gee, I'm going to look stupid. But anyways, this this is the astrology for the week ahead, not the current events for the week behind. So here we go. All right, we are coming down a little bit off of that high energy that we had on the last couple of weeks, right? With all of that activity, all the meeting of the Sun and Jupiter and Venus in Taurus, and then everybody moving into Gemini, and then we have the full moon in Sagittarius last week. A lot of energy going on, and then actually on the 26th and the 25th, Jupiter goes into Gemini, and then on the 26th, Mars goes over the eclipse degree. Lots of stuff happening. Lots of stuff happening. By the way, the June forecast, if you want to join live for the June forecast, it's going to be a small group because we don't even know when it's going to be yet. It'll probably be sometime on Wednesday or Thursday of this coming week. And it'll be probably at some inconvenient time, like the middle of the day. But if you want to join, send me an email to the address that's going across the bottom of the screen right now, and I'll send you a link to it. It's it's free. If not, you know what? Just watch it. Just watch it later on. I want to do it on Zoom so I can get some graphics in there because it's a monthly forecast. You might as well look at some pictures while we go along. Okay, we got this going on. As we start this week, we're still feeling that energy of the last couple of weeks. It's maybe coming down a little bit. It's different than when, we had those 6 weeks of the eclipses from late March through early May, right? And that was like high, frenetic, bubbling kind of energy. This is a much more positive kind of energy, of course, as I often point out. Everybody gets that sense of positive energy. Everybody gets inspired by Jupiter, but it has definitely, it's been an easier flow, let's call it, over the last couple of weeks than it was back there in the early part of the springtime in the Northern Hemisphere. All right, so what do we have going on this week that is special? Well, on the 31st, we're getting all the way down the end of the week over here before we have a major aspect, and that's totally fine. On the 31st, we have Mercury conjuncting Uranus in Taurus. Now, so let's say Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you could maybe dial that back to Wednesday if you want, as Mercury gets close to Uranus. What do we have going on? We have the potential for some really brilliant insights. We have the ability to express ourselves very directly. But, we have good ideas, and good ideas in the sign of Taurus very likely have to do with very practical matters, perhaps finances, perhaps things that might have to do with your diet or stuff like that, like on a very personal level, but also ideas about, how you're going to do something. It would be if you're going to, this is an appropriately mundane suggestion. It would be very much about how you might go. It might be about how you go about, like, rearranging your furniture, how you might go about, let's say it's a great spring cleaning aspect. Spring cleaning in every sense. It might actually be, cleaning up your place. It's getting a little bit late in the springtime to be doing spring cleaning, by the way. But I no blame here. You know what I'm saying? But just the sort of renovating things, making changes. Do watch out. People will be a little sharp about things. Driving, I mean, this is one of the many aspects. People, don't get me started. But this is one of the many aspects that will get people to drive a little bit more impulsively and erratically. Everybody wants to do their thing. The downside of Mercury conjunct Uranus is a kind of, I see it my way. And to the extent that your way is good, it's good. To the extent that it's lousy, it's lousy, but you see it your way, and there's not a lot of room for compromise. And I would think about that as being a little bit of the thought for the end of the week, that it might be a time when compromise is a little bit hard to come by. You might want to sort of do things, I don't want to say on your own, but if you can't get other people to be on the same page with you and you got to kind of, go off and do your thing, or, follow whatever that thing is that interests you. It's Mercury after all, right? We are at the last quarter moon this week, last quarter moon in Pisces. Very much suggests kind of, letting things go. What isn't so important isn't so important. Recognize it as such. After that, the moon wanes down to the new moon, which is coming next week. It's not the kind of thing where you need to sort of like force things. It's more about letting go, releasing energies rather than, getting new things started. But that Mercury Uranus aspect may give you some good insights into what you want to put forward as we go through June. So that's a possibility. And then on June 2nd, then here, that's Sunday, June 2nd, and we're building up again. This is, you got to watch the build up. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We're looking at the trine between Jupiter and Pluto. Now, last week we had everybody who goes into Gemini catches a trine from Pluto. The sun caught a trine from Pluto. I didn't even mention it last week. Venus catches a trine from Pluto, and now Jupiter's going to get one. This is the one that I think has a little bit more, because Jupiter's going to be in Gemini for a year. And so this is the energy that I think is going to be the most visible. He's just gotten into the sign of Gemini 7 days ago, right? A week ago. 8 days, a week ago, 8 days. He's just got into Gemini 8 days ago. First thing he's doing, the first aspect that he makes is a trine from Pluto. So Jupiter, very much about expansion, enchanting the everyday life, and here we have this trine from Pluto in Aquarius, which is very much about our collective values, all of those Pluto and Aquarius things that are so important to us. We're looking at, this is a very egalitarian kind of energy, and egalitarian energy, it can be used for good, it can be used for ill. It's not necessarily, it's certainly not the elitism that we have seen over recent times. It's, more about power to the people. Power, power to the people is great. Angry mobs are not. And so Jupiter here coming into Gemini and catching this trine from Pluto. I would say look for some really good investigative journalism. And for those of you that watch the Jupiter in Gemini video, I've settled on that pronunciation for investigative. In good investigative journalism, look for, though, this is the energy of the collective, things like labor unions and everything that has to do with the power to the people coming into the everyday life, where Jupiter is bringing that energy. Jupiter's a big picture planet, very comfortable dealing with big issues and infusing it into the everyday life, getting people inspired to make changes on the local level. And again, this is the first big aspect that Jupiter makes. So it's setting the tone for his time over the next year in Gemini. So pay a lot of attention to what's going on the collective level and on your local level. Maybe not in your personal life. I mean, those of you that have early Gemini placements, by the way, you guys are really feeling it a lot these last couple of weeks, and that's great. But on the local level, see what's going on. If you're into your little, I shouldn't say little in a diminutive way, but if you're into, neighborhood politics, town politics, and things like that, this should be a very, very exciting time, a very energized time. So we'll see what happens with that. Jupiter Pluto aspects in general are looked at as being very good economically. And we'll see. We'll see if that holds true. I think that Jupiter in Gemini might indicate better news in terms of inflation. And if that's the case, we'll probably get a signal about that sometime between May 31st and, let's say, Monday, June 3rd, although most information about inflation comes out later in the week. So this week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we may get some news about inflation or the economy. It's probably kind of like a things are not going so well, so that's good for some folk. You know how it is with economics. Something, when things are not going well, it means that inflation is going down. So something like that might be going on. But again, look at the local level as opposed to just the collective level. The collective is important. We're swimming around in the collective every single day. But the local level is probably where we're going to, maybe feel it a little bit more. So, and then we are coming into the new moon, which is the topic for next week, but it gives a little bit of a sense that this week, it's a little bit calmer than the last couple of weeks have been, but it's still a lot of productive energy. Finish up what needs to be done so you can get a fresh start in June. There you go. There's some good advice for you.